Hey guys, so we got about 3 inches last night. That would have been Sunday night, so it's Monday morning. I haven't been out yet. Sally was over to feed the chickens. I haven't been out yet, so I just got my truck started. I want to plow the snow off. Also guys, I was working on one of the starters I had laying here that didn't want to work, and I want to go through it and show you the things that were wrong with it and why it wasn't working. So as soon as I get back from plowing, I'll make this video. Excuse me. Hey guys, well, I finished plowing stuff and things, shoveling whatever I had to shovel and that. So I'm going to talk to you about this starter that I have here so that you can understand what's going on. Now I still have the new one. I haven't put it on the backhoe yet because I just don't feel like standing over there in the cold doing it. And I'm going to figure something out a little later this week. I still didn't get the alternator. The alternator should be here soon. But anyway, this is the starter from the backhoe. The starter that's on the backhoe right now I replaced about 2 years ago. And what I did was I took a good look at this one. And I have to tell you that on the rod there that goes through this, the rods fit in the bearings. Like this is the front one. Let's wait a minute. The front one's over there. So that front rod fits that bearing that's in here really tightly, snug. Not overly tight. And the back one there fits the back bearing very nicely. So there's nothing there that could have goofed that up, to make the starter hit something it shouldn't hit. And we have plenty of brush left on this. The thing I don't like is, I don't know if you can even tell there, but it's kind of crooked looking. How it got crooked to both of them, I don't know for sure. But they were pretty black and dirty, so that's one of the reasons why it wasn't, spinning over anymore. But the main thing that I found out after I cleaned it and all, and I'll probably end up buying a new solenoid for this, although before I do, I think I just might try this again, because I'm not sure what the solenoid did and did not do. Everything feels tight on these things. So I'll show you the one thing that I found that really messed up the starter for certain, and then you'll know why it wasn't working. This thing here is for the brushes. So there's negative brushes and there's positive brushes, on the motor. Now the thing is if you look here, you can see that the spring allows this brush to go in and out. And on this one and this one it was working too. But this one, I can't move that brush. So I believe what happened was the brush, now I don't think it burned itself to it, but it may have. I've had this thing soaking in different things for a while and nothing seems to really let it go. I had WD-40 on it first, then I soaked it in this stuff. Now I do have some some rust stuff up there. Let me get a hold of that. I'll be right back to you. Okay, so I found this. Problem is it's just about empty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump some of this on here and see if maybe this can't make a difference in how this is actually working. I just want to stand it up there and get some in the top, because this does eat rust relatively quickly. Alright, so I'm just going to let that sit like that. So I dumped some Evapo Rust into this, and this Evapo Rust, if you've never used it, I took drill bits and wrenches that were totally rusty that I bought at a flea market, threw them in there, and they came out almost new. So it works pretty good. So we'll see how it works on this thing. But this is the reason why the starter stopped working, because it wasn't making contact with the end of the armature. I'm pretty sure, and being an old guy, I'm forgetting a lot of things, but I'm pretty sure that what happened with this starter is it would click, but it wouldn't spin. So that's one of the reasons why it wouldn't spin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can't find the part number for the starter. And maybe I can find, I don't know, a number or something. I might be able to buy this plate and be able to use it in the starter new. I could put it in the old starter, and then I could put the old starter onto the machine and still hang on to this new starter. I'd rather do that, and then I can take the old one that's not working and try and fix that. That'll give me 3 starters that are available for the backhoe. Because really in the past 20 years, the starters have really been the only things to give me grief, plus the radiator had given me grief on this one. But anyway, we'll see what happens here. So I hope that you can understand that these are brushes that run on the armature of the back of the starter motor, and this one just will not move. It's tightened so tight it's unbelievable. So I'm going to see if I can't get another one somewhere. And something else I meant to say too, these starters, when they first came out in the very first Ford backhoes, the rubber gasket here at both ends was missing. And a lot of these starters were going because moisture was getting in there, and it was, rotting whatever's in there. Moisture will rot copper or anything else if it's the right moisture. So they put these rubber seals on there to try to stop that. It doesn't seem like it's working that great. I mean, I guess it's working, but the seals that were on here certainly weren't any greater. I mean, you can see there's a black seal on this one. But the back end there is the part that, was rusted to bad. Those brushes bolt on here. These brushes slip inside, and I started cleaning these. And then that's what makes the motor spin. The only other thing that I'm having a little grief over, now, I've rebuilt some generators and starter motors before. The only thing that I'm looking at here is, from what I can see, it doesn't seem like this was much bigger than it is now. But the lines that are between here don't seem to be separated. And I think that could be a problem in the starter. But I don't know for sure. I'm not positive of how that works. But I think that's part of the problem. So I'll see, and if worse comes to worse, I'll buy another armature. Whatever. The only thing is when you pay $122 for a starter, which is a really good price, you don't want to spend $100 for an armature, $20 for this, $20 for that, because now you're buying something you don't need. I could buy another starter if that's the problem with these parts, but I want to get rid of them then. I want them out of here if they're not going to do me any good. If I can rebuild this starter, and this starter works in the backhoe, and I can rebuild it for less than, at least half the cost of a new one, then I'm going to rebuild it. If I can't rebuild it for half the cost of a new one, I'm just going to buy another new one and have it on the side here and leave it sit. But it would be nice if I could fix this one and the one that's in the backhoe right now. Because the one that's in the backhoe, during the summertime I had 2 problems with it. It would click once, and the other time the solenoid didn't go forward on it. It just spun. So I'm not sure if there's any real big problem with it. I'm going to take it apart and see if I can't swap parts here and make a good starter. We'll see what happens with that. Alright guys, so it's 3:30 already this afternoon on Monday, and I need to get the dog out, so I'm going to take him out because I'm getting tired. I was doing some shoveling, some plowing. I was talking to my neighbors about some things, so I'm going to see if I can't get him out and get this job done. And then I'll get back to you when I get the parts for the backhoe. I have a coil that's supposed to be here, or not a coil, an alternator. I have an alternator that I want to change the same time I change this starter, and I also have a voltage regulator that's coming with it for that backhoe. So I'm hoping to make all these changes and everything's going to work. But I also want to look over the wiring a little bit to see how that is. Alright guys, have a good one. Just yesterday the snow was gone here. Then last night we had snow again. It's just about 3 inches altogether. They're calling for snow not tomorrow, but I think the next day, so Wednesday. I'm just hoping it doesn't snow on the backhoe for the next couple of days. I probably ought to throw a cover on it. Come on, bullseye. Come on, boy. That's a good boy. Come on, we'll go in. Over here. Over this way.